8 in the morning. A young man steps out of a house near Wally's Bar in King, Wisconsin. He's wearing a black Nike hoodie, blue jeans, and carrying a drawstring backpack. He tells the people inside he's walking home. That was March 6, 2020. John Jacob Morgan Jr., known to everyone as Jake, has never been seen again. 5 years later, his family still doesn't know what happened in those crucial moments after he walked out that door. Detective Captain Nicholas Traeger with the Waupaca County Sheriff's Department has been working this case since the beginning. In his 19 years on the force, he's never encountered a missing person case quite like this one. The question that haunts everyone involved is simple, yet devastating. How does a 22-year-old man vanish without a trace in broad daylight from a small Wisconsin community where everyone knows everyone? Let me take you back to the beginning. To understand what happened to Jake Morgan, we need to understand who he was and the events that led to that fateful morning. Jake was described by his mother Michelle as great fun, crazy at times, always active in sports, and very energetic in everything he did. His father John remembered him as someone who pushed everything to the extreme, breaking bone after bone after bone from his adventurous lifestyle. But Jake wasn't just an adrenaline junkie. He was a son, a brother, a friend who stayed in constant contact with the people who mattered to him. Jake worked at an AW restaurant in Wautoma and didn't drive, relying on others for transportation. He had a close relationship with a woman named Kim, who provided him with rides to work and even gave him a cell phone so they could communicate. While investigators couldn't definitively say they were dating, Detective Traeger noted that Kim seemed to be the closest person to Jake and was supposed to give him a ride to work that Friday morning. But Jake never contacted Kim that morning. And that's when everything started to unravel. The timeline of Jake's final known hours reads like a puzzle with missing pieces. On Thursday, March 5th, Jake finished his shift at the AW around 5:30 in the evening and got a ride home to Weyowega from Kim. Later that evening, he was picked up from his home by a former classmate investigators refer to as Haley. Now here's where the story takes a turn that investigators are still trying to fully understand. Jake was picked up from a residence in Waushara County during the early morning hours of Friday, March 6th, and traveled with two other individuals to a residence in King, Wisconsin. He was last known to be at this residence as of 8 a.m. that morning. King, Wisconsin is a tiny community. We're talking about a place where major news travels fast and secrets are hard to keep. The house where Jake was last seen sits near Wally's Bar, a local establishment that serves as a landmark in the area. Witnesses told law enforcement that Jake had traveled to the home with two other people and that he left on foot at about 8 a.m., leaving by himself. But here's what makes this case so perplexing. Jake was supposed to be at work that Friday morning. Kim was expecting to give him a ride, but Jake never contacted her. He never arrived at work and never picked up his paycheck. For someone who maintained regular contact with the people in his life, this was completely out of character. Jake's cell phone went straight to voicemail from that point forward, with no activity whatsoever. He hasn't appeared on any social media since March 6, 2020. In today's connected world, that kind of digital silence speaks volumes. If you're finding this case as puzzling as I am, and you want to see more deep investigations into missing person cases that law enforcement is still actively working on, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. These families deserve justice, and your support helps keep their stories alive when the world seems ready to forget. The initial search efforts were extensive. Waupaca County deputies conducted search warrants and large area searches throughout the region. A billboard was erected in the area advertising Jake's disappearance. His family created a Facebook page that posts monthly updates, encouraging people to come forward with information. But as days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, the case grew cold, the leads dried up, the tips became rumors, and Jake's family was left with more questions than answers. Jake's father, John, described the emotional toll perfectly when he said that whether the information people send him are rumors or not, it just wrecks him again. His mother Michelle talks to someone in the sheriff's office weekly, maintaining hope while dealing with the limitations of an ongoing investigation that can't reveal much. The family has held vigils, maintained social media presence, and never stopped believing that someone out there knows something. In March 2021, on the first day of spring, family and friends gathered for a candlelight vigil in Weyawega, intentionally avoiding the anniversary date of March 6th. But what makes Jake's disappearance even more mysterious is what investigators discovered about his background and the circumstances surrounding that final night. Here's what most people don't know about Jake Morgan. He wasn't just a regular 22-year-old trying to make it in small-town Wisconsin. Jake had a history with law enforcement that may have played a crucial role in his disappearance. Detective Traeger revealed that Jake had an active probation warrant at the time he went missing. The investigators initially wondered if Jake might have been trying to avoid being arrested on this warrant. Could he have voluntarily disappeared to escape legal troubles? But as Traeger noted, they never found any credible information about where Jake might have gone if that were the case. Jake's criminal history included charges for operating while intoxicated, possession of methamphetamine, unsafe lane deviation, and operating with a suspended license. He had also been arrested for burglary in 2015. This background adds a layer of complexity to the investigation that can't be ignored. But here's where the case takes an even darker turn. Detective Traeger has stated that drugs continue to be a major challenge in working on Jake's case. As he put it, trying to speak with individuals who don't always like law enforcement or have been incarcerated doesn't always result in the most cooperation. This presents a troubling picture. Jake was last seen at a house in a small community where drug activity may have been present. He was with people who may not be eager to cooperate with law enforcement, and he had legal troubles that could have made him a target or motivated him to make dangerous decisions. The investigation eventually transferred from Waushara County to Waupaca County since King was Jake's last known location. This jurisdictional handoff is common in missing person cases, but it also means precious time and continuity can be lost in the crucial early stages of an investigation. What's particularly haunting about this case is how it reflects the challenges of investigating disappearances in communities affected by drug activity. Detective Traeger believes that information about Jake's disappearance will likely only come from a very select group of people. He thinks it's a very small circle, and his reasoning is compelling. In a small town like King, when something big happens, somebody usually knows something credible. But here's the frustrating reality. Throughout the last several years, there have been numerous interviews with people in the community who have heard rumors or information. Yet none of these interviews have produced much credible information from the people who were closest to the situation. This suggests either a conspiracy of silence, or that the people who know what happened to Jake are too afraid, too loyal, or too implicated to come forward. The family's pain is evident in every public statement they've made. Jake's aunt has been particularly vocal on social media, posting regular updates that grow more desperate with each passing month. In one particularly heartbreaking post, she wrote about how it gets more and more difficult as the days, weeks, months, and years drag on without any answers. She specifically mentioned how Mother's Day has become an annual reminder of loss, with Jake's mother having to spend multiple Mother's Days without him and not knowing what happened to her son. The family's frustration with people who might have information is palpable. They've repeatedly stated that they know there are people out there who have information about what happened to Jake, and they pray that someone will finally come forward. Right now, take a second to think about Jake's mother, Michelle, spending yet another year not knowing if her son is alive or dead. If this story is affecting you the way it's affecting me, smash that like button to show this family that people care about finding answers. Your engagement could be the thing that gets this case in front of the right person who has the information law enforcement needs. But there's something else that makes this case even more compelling. The family has put their money where their mouth is. Jake's family is offering a $10,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest of anyone involved in Jake's disappearance, or for information that leads to finding him or the location of his body. $10,000 is serious money for a working-class family in Wisconsin. This isn't just about publicity or keeping the case alive. This family is willing to make a significant financial sacrifice to get answers about what happened to their son, brother, nephew. The reward money shows just how confident investigators are that this isn't a case of someone voluntarily disappearing. This is a family that believes someone harmed Jake, and they're willing to pay for justice. Detective Traeger's assessment of the case is particularly telling. He believes that credible information will come from a very small circle of people who were involved in or aware of what happened that night. The fact that this small town hasn't produced solid leads after 5 years suggests that the people who know something are actively choosing not to cooperate. This brings us to one of the most chilling aspects of the case. In August 2020, the family had to issue a statement clarifying that human remains found in Waupaca County were not Jake. The fact that they had to make this clarification shows how desperate they've become for any news, even tragic news, that might provide closure. The family wrote that they were sending love and prayers to the family of the person who was found, while asking for continued prayers for themselves. This level of grace under unimaginable circumstances speaks to the character of the people who are fighting for Jake. But what's really kept this case alive is the family's relentless advocacy. They've maintained an active Facebook page called Help Us Find John Jake Morgan that has over 5,000 followers. They post monthly updates, share news coverage, and consistently ask people to come forward with information. As recently as January 2025, 5 years after Jake's disappearance, the family shared a news report about the case, thanking people for their continued prayers and expressing that they continue to hope and pray for answers. The persistence of Jake's family is remarkable. Most missing person cases fade from public attention within months, but Jake's family has kept his story alive for 5 years, maintaining hope while dealing with a nightmare that never ends. What makes their advocacy even more powerful is their message to people who might have information. They consistently appeal to basic human empathy, asking people to think about how they would feel if this was their child, brother, nephew, cousin, or friend. The family has been clear in their messaging to anyone who might be involved in Jake's disappearance. As his aunt wrote in one social media post, they want people to know that the family will not stop until they find out what happened to him. This isn't just a family hoping for the best. This is a family that believes someone harmed Jake, and they're committed to finding out who and why. The case has taken on additional significance because it's not isolated. Other young men have gone missing in the same general area of Wisconsin, though authorities have not indicated any connection between the cases. Still, the pattern is troubling and suggests that there may be dangers in these small Wisconsin communities that haven't been fully recognized or addressed. One detail that investigators continue to focus on is Jake's distinctive appearance and the items he was carrying when he disappeared. Jake is 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighs between 140 and 160 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He has a custom-made tattoo on his lower right leg that extends from ankle to knee and almost wraps around his leg. He has piercings in both ears and his tongue, and a half-inch star-shaped scar believed to be on his left eyebrow. When he disappeared, Jake was wearing a dark blue or black hooded sweatshirt with a Nike logo on the front, blue jeans, brown shoes, and a gray stocking cap. He was carrying a drawstring backpack and wearing a blue and gray jacket similar to a Columbia jacket. These details matter because Jake would be recognizable to anyone who encountered him. His height, build, distinctive tattoo, multiple piercings, and the specific clothing he was wearing would make him memorable to witnesses. The fact that no credible sightings have emerged suggests that whatever happened to Jake occurred quickly and in a location where he wouldn't be seen by potential witnesses. The investigation continues to this day. The Waupaca County Sheriff's Office asks anyone with information to call 715-258-4466. People can also make anonymous tips through Crime Stoppers at 888-258-9955 or through the P3 app available for Apple and Android devices. What's particularly important for people to understand is that investigators believe even seemingly minor information could be crucial. Detective Traeger has emphasized that the solution to this case will likely come from people who were part of a very small circle connected to that night in King, Wisconsin. Someone knows what happened to Jake Morgan. Someone knows why a 22-year-old man walked out of a house at 8 in the morning and never made it home. Someone knows whether Jake was hurt, where he might be, or what happened to his body. The question that remains after 5 years is simple: will that person finally come forward? Jake would be 27 years old today. He's missed birthdays, holidays, family gatherings, and all the milestones of young adulthood. His family has endured 5 years of not knowing whether to mourn him or keep hoping for his return. Before you click away from this video, I want you to do something. Share this story. Comment below with your thoughts about what might have happened to Jake. And if you know anything about this case, anything at all, please contact the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office. This family deserves answers, and Jake deserves justice. Subscribe if you want to see more cases like this where we shine a light on the missing and the forgotten, because every person matters, and every family deserves the truth. This is the John Morgan mystery, a case that started with an 8 a.m. walk and has led to 5 years of silence. Until someone breaks that silence, Jake's family will continue their search for answers, and investigators will continue following every lead, no matter how small, because in the end, the truth always has a way of coming out. The question is just how long it will take, and whether the people who know that truth will find the courage to finally speak up. Jake Morgan is still missing. His case is still open, and somewhere out there, someone knows exactly what happened on that March morning in 2020. The clock is ticking for justice.